Okay, peer supporters, this is session 7, relationships. This is your second last session. I'm going to quickly run through what we need for this session. So, you'll need your leader books. I have errands today. If your box is nice and organised, then I may have your resources nicely put into your folder. If your box is not organised, it will just be chucked in there. So, we will need a piece of scrap paper per student today and pens and pencils. They should always just be in there for you. Alright, first thing is, read the introduction. Tell them what the heading or title of the session is, which is about relationships. And then you've got your first task, roughly 5 minutes, activity 1. Alright, divide the students into 2 groups. If your group is quite small, be tactical about who you put where. They're a bit bigger, you can use one of our little fun ways of swapping them. And then explain to the students, the peer leaders will whisper instructions to the first student in each line. The instruction will be whispered down the line till they've reached the last student, who will carry out the instruction. For example, do 3 star jumps, run around your team, put your hands in the air and give the peer leader a high five. Allow time for both teams to complete, bring them back together, and then tell the students what the original instruction was. Hopefully, if your line is long enough, they might have missed an aspect of it. If it wasn't that long, you might choose not to split your groups and just try it one more time to see if you can get anything that is a little bit off. If they're going to be a nuisance, then they'll just completely change it on you and you'll have to be firm and tell them not to do that. Then there's a big discussion session there. So read through that. Talk about why information is lost. Talk about how the whole message can't be conveyed. Read through that prior, or while one person is running this, the other person is prepping for the discussion. This is the important part. Alright, activity 2. Half the picture. It says divide into 3 groups. For some of you, just 2 groups will be fine. And you ask students to think of a public place or event without letting other groups know what it is. Explain they will need to mime a 20-second scene showing many things that might happen at that place or event. You could use a beach, shopping centre, etc. Give them a little bit of time to plan, practice, and then bring groups together. You're going to ask them to perform what they've come up with at about 5 seconds though. And remember, it's a miming activity, so they shouldn't be loud. I want you to get them to freeze and ask other students to open their eyes. Oh, I've missed that you had to ask them to close their eyes first before they mimed. Read instructions. Okay, ask students to guess the place or event from this one frozen picture. So, essentially, they've made a mime. They're performing to another group. The other group has their eyes closed. You say freeze. The other group can then open their eyes and they've got to try and pick what it is. Repeat it again with your other groups and then have your discussion. Chances are they probably won't be able to pick it out. If they were listening and stuff, they might have an idea. But again, use that discussion and then read your little quotation to them as well. We must be careful not to make up details we don't have. Jumping to conclusions can lead to limiting thoughts, which links back to a previous lesson. Alright, activity 10 is empathy. So some of our students have really good empathy skills, some of them don't. Explain to the students that most of the time we have emotions linked to our experiences. Ask students to call out how they might feel in each of the scenarios you read out. And then it says read 3 scenarios. So a rumour about you is spread. You have a disagreement with a good friend. You like your new top and someone has just made fun of it. Alright, to demonstrate, there's a little quote here to read again. And then you're asking students to call out about possible feelings they might have for each of the following scenarios for another person. Okay. All right. This continues down and there's a little bit more. You've got a little discussion point here. The student walks into a classroom. I want you to give them the questions that are provided, and then we're explaining about how we demonstrate empathy, and that links to open thinking. All right, there's another quote, and that's the end of that. There's lots of text in that activity. Be careful, give yourself time to actually work through that, and then you'll get onto activity 4. Listening and responding. Go get students sit in a circle, give them a piece of scrap paper and a pencil, and you want to write about their favourite activity or hobby, in the middle of the page. Give them 20 seconds and ask them to pass the piece of paper around. Student reads the activity or hobby, and they fold it in half so the writing cannot be seen, and they have to draw a picture that represents the activity written. Allow 2 minutes to draw the picture, and then students pass it around 2 places to their left. Student looks at the drawing they have received, not the words, and then under the pitch they write what they think their activity is. Allow 20 seconds. Student then opens a piece of paper to see what was originally written. Alright, here, if you've got any students who struggle with writing or drawing, you may need to step in and help. Try to only do what they say if you are scribing for them, and then you have your discussion points and your conclusion. Alright, in your conclusion, or if you've got time at the end, have a nice chat about positive relationships that they have, and who are some people that they have relationships with, and things like that. Because like I said in our meeting, this is all about utilising the relationships that we have in the school, and getting kids to feel comfortable with analysing situations and asking for help if they need. So that's it. Good luck, guys.